Hello my fellow freedom builders and welcome back to the channel. It is Monday and therefore of course Mining Monday. We are at the end of November and we have seen quite a dive in gold and silver as we have looked at the other weeks, and we'll have a further look at that today. It'll be a bit of a short video today because there are not many gold mining, silver mining stocks that I would actually recommend right now. Not that they're not exciting opportunities, they absolutely are. But as you know, I am mostly a trend follower, meaning that I do like to invest in very good, solid companies or explorers with great potential. But I also want to see that the buyers are just slightly starting to get into the market. And right now we must admit that that is not apparent that they are coming right now. But let's have a look at the charts when we get there. So we'll have a look at gold, silver, copper, and of course the dollar. We'll have a look at the GDX and GDXJ, the two ETFs for the gold miners. And then we will have a look at if gold and silver, if they are about to turn now. Not right now at this instance, but if we over the last 2 to 4, maybe 6 weeks, we'll see a turn in the market moving into a more permanent bull market in the metals. So let's have a look at it just as we normally do. Now, what I've been saying the other weeks are that this point here was an important support area. If that was broken, then I would be a bit worried. And I think last week I did my video. It had just broken here, or it was on its way to break here. And I was a bit worried about that and said if that were to break, we could easily see a move towards the bottom of this channel. And that is where we've gone now. And there are some different reasons for that. I'll talk about that a bit later as well. But one of the reasons is that a lot of big players in the market, as far as I can tell, they have been very, very interested in pushing the price on gold and silver down. Because it was a new time of contracts now, and nobody was really interested. Some of them were not interested in delivering physical gold, and some were not interested in receiving it. At least there was a lot of interest in pushing the price down below the 1800, so that a lot of contracts were expire worthless. So that is at least the thought of some of the analysts in the market. As you know, I'm not primarily a gold and silver analyst, but we have Lasse, and our analyst here in the company, and also a lot of analysts, of course, on the internet. And there's a lot of talk right now about that, and I will link to some of it below. In the section here below, we have let's see here, another COMEX price smash. They're talking about why this will happen. So of course the question is, the very interesting part for us is, will this turn around? Will we soon see some sort of a bull run again in gold? And that is of course the good question. Now let's just have a look at some of the others. There's the silver. They've also broken this trend channel here. You could say this is a bear flag, so that's actually not very positive for it. If that has to move down to the bottom of this area here, we're talking about $18 per ounce. That is very cheap for silver. And the funny thing here is that this is basically only paper silver and gold, because the physical silver and gold, there's a lot more demand for that. So that is good for those of us that have actually bought physical gold and silver. Now, I talked about the copper also the last couple of times. And as you know, I am a trend follower. And what I said was that a lot of people on the internet, when I read the analysts, they said that there might be some sort of resistance area here around 330. And the reason for that is that when people look back, then back here in 17, there was some resistance around 330. The thing is that I don't really look that far back normally, because what a support or resistance actually is it is a point where people start to get the feeling they want to buy, or maybe they get some motivation to sell. And not many people have held silver long back here from 17, 18 and then buying here, sitting on a big loss, and then wanting to sell here. That might be more in the stock market where people are getting these feelings, because people that buy physical silver, they often have some sort of other agenda with it as well. So we don't see people buying here, sitting at a loss for some years, and then when it's back here, they're saying, yes, I can finally get out and break even, and then start selling. That is a lot more common in the stock market. But what we saw right now, and this is where it is very nice to be a trend follower, is that if you just follow the trend, it's simply just shot straight up through this, at least theoretical resistance area, and just went from 330 to 350 in a matter of a couple of days. So that, of course, also showed in the copper stocks that we talked about yesterday, and I'll just have a look at them in a second. Well, we have the US dollar, and this is where I really get the feeling that it is true when people are saying that the gold is manipulated. Because when we see the dollar going down, and it is right now, the DXY is the dollar index, and when that goes down, we normally see the gold go up, and the other way around, of course. So when we see the dollar going down here, down, 3% over, since back in October here, then in theory at least, gold and silver should be going up. But they have not been doing that. If we take a look at them again, we can see that in the same time span, well, it started to go up, then the vaccine news came and pushed the price down, and then there have really been some big players in the market interested in pushing the price down. So when we look at this, it should indicate basically that if the dollar keeps going down and getting weaker and weaker, we should definitely see a push up in gold and silver. But let's see, sometimes theory is not the same as real life. Let's have a look at the two indices, or the two ETFs here, the GDX first. That is the major gold miners here, and as you can see, it has gone straight down and is right now hitting the bottom in this channel. That might be a sign for it to go up. We don't know how much. It might just go up, bounce here, and then go up to this resistance area and being shot down again. Nobody really knows. But if our theory or our ideas, if they are right, that gold and silver will be going up, at least when we go into 2021, then this should also turn around. The same with the juniors. If we can have a look at these, we have the GDXJ here also turning up right around this earlier support area here. All right. Then quickly the two copper miners, and as you can see, I was talking about last week, the SCCO, the Southern Copper Corporation here. And along with the copper price, this has simply just gone straight up. And as I said, it is actually showing a very nice buy signal here, bouncing on 20 SMA and so forth. The RSI is just like we like it to see. So this is basically just a great bull case, and we could have gotten in nice and easily back here at 48, taking a very good 25% profit here, along with the rising copper prices. The same with the Freeport McMoran, or McMoran. I can hear people pronounce it a bit differently. As I said, also showed a very good buy signals down here around 18, 19, and along with the copper prices has just gone up. All right, so it seems like copper is going up. Gold and silver, we don't really know. It seems like it is still manipulated somehow. There are also some other reasons, of course, for the movements. Normally, when we see gold and silver go up or down, I've talked about that in some earlier videos here. Normally, people say that the gold is a good hedge when the market is going down. And as I've said in my earlier videos, it is actually not that apparent over time. As you can see here, we have the S&P 500 down here, and that is pushing up. And in the same time span here, back from 16, 17, 18, the gold is just going sideways. Yes, then we can see we have a time where the S&P 500 is going up and gold is going down. That is true. And we can also see the opposite direction here. But then we actually have a very long time span here of 1.5 years where gold is going up and the market is going up. Then the market drops And then you should think that gold also should, when the market drops, the gold should go up. But as we saw, and we have seen that in pretty much all the really big crashes in the market, meaning many funds are sitting on both stocks and some metals. And they might have been making good money on the metals as they have here. And then all of a sudden the market is crashing, and some of the funds are leveraged, meaning that all of a sudden they are starting to get margin calls from their broker saying, hey, you really have to put some more money into the account. And what do? Well, they're sitting on a lot of profit in the gold and silver and other metals, so they start selling that. So often in these big crashes in the market, we also see a hefty shot down in the metals price. But then we can see going straight up in the market, going straight up in the gold. Then the market has a little retracement, goes up again, and right now the gold just goes down. So it is not completely, it's not like they are negatively correlated completely here. It's more like a bit of a mess. So as I said in one of my earlier mining videos, it is actually a lot more when we are looking at the, let's put DXY in here instead. There is a lot more of a negative correlation between these at most times, but as we can see right now here, since August, we have actually seen a drop in the dollar and we have seen a drop in the gold, which is not what we normally see. But there are many reasons for that, and of course some of the apparent explanations for this is that yes, the vaccines came out, and we also have something about Biden winning the presidency in United States, or at least we believe it ends up like that. And he have chosen Janet Yellen for one of his government, very important financial government posts, and therefore there are some pretty good suggestions, or at least people have started to speculate, that when we get closer to the January, to the 20th of January, when Biden is sworn in, then we might see a larger chance for some Fed interventions, for some stimulus packages and so on, which would normally put some more money out in the market, pressure the dollar down, and basically also push the gold up. That is of course pure speculation, but that is at least what we think. Now we can also look at other parts of this equation here. We can look at the seasonalities. Let's see, that comes here. If you don't know the seasonality chart, it is that when they make a seasonality chart like this, you can see this is based over the last 30 years and only up until 2016, so it's not completely updated. Doesn't matter too much. What we can see here is that when they put each and every day and each and every month into this chart over the last 30 years, when we see this move up here, that is in April, meaning that on average over the last 30 years, then gold has gone up in April. Then it has on average gone down in May, and a bit sideways here in June, and then starting to move up. And then on average, and of course that can vary quite a lot from year to year, but then in October, in the beginning of November, we tend to see this big drop. Well, we saw that in October, but then normally the average year we see gold spiking up in November, a bit sideways in December, and then really moving up in January and February. And what we are seeing right now might indicate that this spike here is yet to come. And therefore there might be some seasonality pointing towards that when we enter the new year, or at least here in the middle of December and forward the next 2 or 3 months, we will see some sort of a bull run as well. So that is the seasonality, there is the fiscal stimulus, there is the vaccine, the Biden-Yellen case and so on, and all of these things combined makes us think that gold absolutely will turn very shortly. Another very interesting chart that I like to look at is the gold divided by the SPX, meaning the S&P 500 here. If you use TradingView, then that is very simple to get a chart like this. You simply put in the XAU USD here divided by the SPX, and then that calculates the relative strength between the two. And now I know we only have the data back from 2006 here, 2006 and forward, but that is almost 15 years, so I think that'll do for now. What we can see is that in this time span from 06 and up to 11, we can see a very clear tendency that gold is outperforming the S&P 500. Gold is simply moving a lot faster upwards. Then here back in 11, 12 here, we saw it spiking, moving downwards, and that was a weak time span for the gold. Then we can see, just as we do with the stock analysis, we can see that the bottoms start to flatten out, and we see this turning around, and that indicates that gold is starting a turn. We don't know if we'll see a spike like this one. That is maybe not so realistic to believe that we'll see this doubling in relative strength, but we do see this turning point here, absolutely. And if we go down to the weekly charts, this was a monthly chart, but let's just have a look at the weeklies here. Oh, sorry, a little message came up here. And what we see here on the weekly chart, just on a line chart, is that these bottoms are lining up very nicely. And I know this is not a standard normal price chart, but it is a relative chart between the gold and the SPX. So we can actually see that the drop down here to the 1770, around that gives us a very good support point on this line. So if our suspicion is right and the gold is gaining strength toward the S&P 500, then these pressure points here, then these support points are showing us that if we have the turnaround now, then we think we will keep moving upwards. Also remember that this chart can go up when the gold is going down, because what this only shows us is the relative strength between the gold and the S&P 500. So if the S&P 500 goes straight down and the gold only goes slightly down, then these two divided by each other will actually make this line go upwards, meaning that the gold is getting stronger towards the S&P 500 just because it is not dropping quite as much as the market. So that is an important factor to remember when we are talking about relative strength. All right, so there are many cases here, many things that support. Do we think that the metals will have a great year in 2021? And nobody knows, of course, but since we are both analysts of the mining stocks, but I am especially a technical analyst, then we will of course wait for some good solid trends before we start entering stocks. Now I think that already next week or the week after that we will start seeing some good potential candidates again that I'll put into my videos, and we'll try to come around all of this metal market, this metal sector, as well as possible. Right now we have gold, silver and copper in, but there might also be other metals that will be represented here at Mining Monday. That's about it for now. Let's see if the market actually turns around as we think it will and get above the 1800s again. If we just have a quick look at it here at the gold, what we think and hope it will do. It is of course partially hope when you want to be long the stocks, but what I want to see before I'm completely confident in the gold price having turned, that would be that we at least get up above this 1850 line here. I know it is far up, and to those of you that are day trading, I know it is a really long stretch to wait for it to get up here, but before I am 100%, or it is hard to be 100% confident, but before I'm really confident about the turn in the gold price, I would like to see just as we saw here, a break up, then a bit of a retracement maybe, and then some buying strength. And what we saw here was a break up, the retracement, but there was not really any buying strength left, and then it was just sent down. So what I want to see and what I believe we are going to see is some sort of turning point here. I know some people are talking about that we will get down into 1600. I don't think that is realistic for the gold, but then again, I'm not the expert here, and the market has a way of always doing other things than what I think is realistic. So let's just wait and see and let the charts tell us. Let's not predict anything, but simply just see what the market offers us, and then we can trade on that. That's about it for now. Take care of yourself and your money out there. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like, and hit all the notifications down there below, the bell notification, whatever you can find. And I will link to all of the articles and blog posts that I've shown in this video in the text below. See you soon, and have a nice day. Bye.